All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Business Shower Podcast, a podcast for business owners to shine. I am your host, Kelly Edwards, and today we are talking with Elizabeth DeLouis of Crown International. How are you doing today, Elizabeth?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing okay. I'm maintaining.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I told you previously before I started recording, like, I've been stalking you for a good minute. And I was like, I have to get her on the podcast. So I'm so glad you accepted my invitation.
No, I'm really excited to be here. Like I said before, this is my first interview, so this is really exciting for me.
Okay. It's the first interview, guys. So, make sure you take notes because I'm sure she's going to drop some gems today. All right. So tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
Okay. So as Kelly already said, I'm Elizabeth. I am the founder and CEO of Crown International. Crown International is a nonprofit organization created for women by women. And our mission model is helping women achieve vision, purpose, and excellence, right, in every area of life. So our focus is to help women see themselves the way that God sees them. So whether it's emotional, physical, spiritual, mental, we want to make sure that women are well-rounded in every aspect of life. So with that being said, we create safe spaces through networking events, conferences, mentoring programs, and even workshops geared towards women's personal and professional development.
Okay, awesome. So tell us your story and how you got started and what shaped you to where you are today.
Oh, perfect. So I started with Crown International. I want to say it was in May of 2019. That's when I always say this is when I really got the vision to start this. It comes from a place of always, my background is social services, right? Human services. And with that being said, I always had this passion of helping people. And back in May 2019, I don't know, it's just something that was tugging at my heart. And I felt that's something that God placed in my heart to do. And I felt like he was leading me to help women, especially Black women. I feel like the world, everything works against us, right? Yeah. And I don't know what was happening during that time. If I said I knew, I would be lying. But I just knew that I was being called to work with Black women. A lot of people ask me, well, why not other women? We're all inclusive. We welcome everyone. But I feel like our people are hurting the most. And I felt like God was leading me to organize and create something where we could be in a safe space where we could pour into one another. And then I started with the Crown Her Conference. And from the Crown Her Conference, it was just supposed to be a conference. It wasn't supposed to be like an organization or anything. I just said to myself, oh, I just want to do a conference and, something maybe I can do every year and then call it a day. And then from there, it developed into Crown International. People are like, okay, why don't you do this? Why don't you do more events? Because the first conference was really amazing. Something that I didn't even expect. And from there, Crown International was birthed. Just from doing our conference, and the next thing I know, I'm here trying to make it a 501c3, trying to get board members, all of that stuff. And I felt like it was not even me doing it because if anyone knows me, they know I don't like doing anything front and center. I like to work from the background, right? I'll give an idea and then I'm done. But over the past year, it developed into something that's, I want to say that's above me. And I'm just a servant.
All right. Well, listen, when God calls you to do something, it seems like all the doors just open up at the right time. So
Yes, yes,
that
absolutely.
is absolutely great. So what have you taken from your education and your experience that helped you with your business?
Okay, so like I said before, my background, I have a master's degree in human services.
Hmm.
So during when I was in grad school, actually the focus, most of our classes were based on nonprofit organization, management, structuring, business analysis, and things like that. So I took a little bit of what I learned in school to apply it to what I'm doing now. So I guess this is what I learned from school. It's not true that you don't learn anything in college. You learn some things.
Yes. Yes, you do. I was just going to say that. You see how, you got set up for that? Like, you
Yeah.
didn't go into a corporation, but you started your own company. So,
Right.
yes, you were definitely set up from that. Okay. So, um, when did you know you wanted to become an entrepreneur? Like, when did you know that you wanted to start your own business?
That's a really good question. I knew I wanted to become an entrepreneur when, as I started working for both the nonprofit and for-profit sector, for big corporations, organizations. And I always said to myself, I said, here I am building somebody else's dream. I'm contributing to their dream, right? I said, but who's contributing to mine?
Mhm.
Right? And I was in a place when I was working for a company where I remember I poured so much into the company, right? And I remember approaching my manager at the time and I said, I'm doing XYZ and I would like to be compensated more.
Mhm.
And her her comment to me was, "What makes you think you deserve more?" That took me out. Okay. I was like, wow, okay. I really have to list all my accomplishments and everything to tell you that I need. And mind you, I was asking for little crumbs,
Yeah.
and that was too much. And I felt like as Black women, we always receive the short end of the sticks. And then is at that point I said, you know what? I made myself a promise. I'm going to become my own boss. I'm going to build generational wealth for me and mine. And I want to say that's how I started.
Okay. So it took mostly not a negative situation, because we're not going to say a negative situation, but
Mhm.
it took a wow moment for you to say, okay, you know what? I can't do this. This is not for me.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So what do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur, and what do you think is the hardest?
What I enjoyed the most is definitely the flexibility, being able to make my own decisions without having, a boss breathing down my neck. Mind you, I still have my full-time job, right? Because since it's something that I just started, so the bills still have to be paid. So I still need that full time, but it's nice that I'm still able to build something and I get to set my own terms. So I want to say that's the positive side to um, running my own business.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. The hardest thing, it can be a lonely journey. When you first start, not everybody may be on the same page as you. Not everyone is going to have, or not have, but see your vision. Um, People may come in trying to help, but at the end of the day, it's your baby, it's your vision. So it can be lonely sometimes. I think that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, that's the most hardest thing for me. So I
Mhm.
completely get it. So what's your biggest pain points you've been dealing with these days with COVID and the shutdown and everything like that?
I want to say since the shutdown, um, is three things: resources, funding, and marketing. Um, especially right now, like even though we're nonprofit, we're still 501c3 pending.
Mhm.
So I don't have grants and donation that's pouring in, right? So that's hard. So right now, most things are coming out of pocket. Um, and then marketing. Unfortunately, when you're a startup, you don't have the luxury of hiring a social media manager and Instagram and all these other fancy things. You don't have them at your disposal, so you're stuck with doing everything on your own. So, and
Mhm.
limited resources. So I think those are the three things that I struggle with.
Okay. All right. So how do you manage that? Not being able to handle like a social media manager.
I ask for help where needed, and for the most part, what I do a little bit of research to see what can be most effective in posting on different platforms,
Mhm.
creating a calendar of content. Even though right now I put that at a standstill because I was focusing on a last event, so I haven't been posting that much, and it can be tricky because they all each platform have their own algorithm. If you don't post enough, you post too much, you don't post to the right. It's a lot. So it's just doing a little bit of research to see what can work for me and asking for help.
Okay. All right. So who are the three most influential people that influenced you in your life or in your
Okay,
career?
they're a good question. So the first person is definitely my father. My father, I've seen him work hard, hustle, and to make sure we're good. And then he himself, he's a pastor, but he's also an entrepreneur
Okay.
as well. So it's nice to just see him in the business light and also in the ministry light. So I look up to him a lot. He's my biggest inspiration. And my second person is my spiritual mentor. I call her like my spiritual mother. She pours a lot into me. She prays for me. She upholds me. She makes sure I'm good. And the third person I want to say is my life coach. Recently, someone that I connected with, and he helps me with kind of the business side of things, which is has been really helpful for me.
Okay. All right. So what are so I'm going to ask you two parts to this question. The next question is down below, so I'm going to skip that once I get to it. But what are some skills and characteristics that you think business owners need to have?
The first one I want to say is you have to be able to listen. You have to be able to listen. You have to learn to be led in order for you to lead.
Mhm.
One of the most important thing in my leadership style is I always had the utmost respect, whether I agreed with the person or not. Anyone who's over me, I
Mhm.
take what I can get from them. I learn from them, and then once that relationship or that season was done, I took what applied, and then I was able to carry that with me. I remember listening to a clip by what's his name? I believe. Oh my goodness, his name is Louis Farrakhan, I believe it was. And there's a clip that he had about the importance of being led, the importance of following and listening to instructions. And then he was saying how when he was younger, he would look up to Malcolm X and he would never try to get over him. He knew the importance of leadership. He stayed under him until he could learn what he could, and then he became um, a great leader himself. So I think that's one of the most important things that any leaders need to learn is to learn to be led so you can lead, learn to listen, and also learn to adapt. That's the third one. You have to learn to adapt, learn people's personalities. Not everyone you meet will be the person you want them to be. Yeah. So you have to learn to be versatile so you can adapt and go accordingly.
Yes, they're absolutely right. Especially the listen part, because I'm going to be honest, I've said this on the podcast before. I had a business before and I did not listen very well. So that was a struggle for me the first time I had a business. And now I'm like, ears is open. I'm listening to what everybody is saying. Even when I bring you guys as guests on my podcast, I'm listening to what you're saying as far as the gems that you're dropping, and I'm applying it. So you got to be teachable, I say.
Yes. That's important. Yeah. You can't teach if you're not teachable. Exactly. A teacher had to learn at some point.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So we know that entrepreneurship is a tough road. In those difficult moments, how do you stay focused and move forward and make progress?
For me, it's very simple. I pray and I meditate. Okay. That's my main and only source of strength. Every morning I have to start with a prayer, and every night I have to end with a prayer, even if it's just a few words or it's 20 minutes, 50 minutes. I have to pray, and I meditate on the Word of God. That's how I'm able to sustain my mind, really, and also to keep the vision. So I can stay focused on the vision. That's how I do it. It's very important for me.
Okay. Yeah. Prayer for me, I pray. The meditation part is like, I haven't got that down pat yet. I'm still working on it. Because my mind starts going and I start thinking, and I'm just like, you're supposed to be quiet mind, quiet everything, but I can't get
there. Here's the thing. You don't have to say, like, for me, meditation, like, for me, it can be reading, like it's moments to yourself alone where you can really kind of level set, really. Okay. Like, I know each person, sometimes they say that meditation is you just sit there quiet in a room. I know I can do it.
Okay,
so you're not the only one. Okay. Yeah, because sometimes I tend to be all over the place. Sometimes I'm on attention and things like that. So for me, I have to, like I said, once I'm done with prayer, sometimes I'll, instead of the quiet moments, I'll read a book. I'll read my Bible. And that's my time alone with God, just to quiet down everything around me, quiet down the world, quiet down the chaos that may be going on around me. So that's what centers me and keeps me focused. Okay. So you have to find something that works for you.
Yes, I do. Okay. Thank you for the tip. I'm definitely going to take that away. So what makes you feel inspired to be your best self every day?
First, I want to say my family, my kids, my daughters. They motivate me. They push me. Everything that I do is for them. I want to be able to, once I leave this earth, I leave a legacy behind, right? So every time in the morning when I don't feel like getting up or I don't feel like doing something, I think about them. And that's what motivates me.
Okay. Motivation. It's amazing. So what would your parents describe what you're doing for a living? What would they describe it as?
I want to say they would describe it as I'm always in service of two others.
Okay.
Yeah. Always in service. I always like Elizabeth's always doing something. She's always looking for something to do. I just stay busy.
That's so funny because I get some of the random answers when it comes to the podcast. Like the couple of people that I did interview and I asked them that question, they're like, well, my mom would say I sell this and I sell that. And I'm just like, oh, okay. My mom in general, she will say, my daughter's on YouTube and she's a real estate. I think she says broker. She doesn't say investor. She says broker. So it's kind of funny. All right. So what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
I think my biggest failure was not asking help in the very beginning. So I did a lot of things by myself, which caused me to experience a lot of errors, lose a lot of money too. Because, when you start your business and you might know this yourself, it's like you start your business and then you go to professionals and things like that, and they smell blood. They're like sharks. They're like, well, I can offer you all of this for this price. Mm-hmm. And then, you get super excited and then you're like, go ahead, take the money. So I wish there was I would have saved so much money if I had just done the research first. And then some things you can do by yourself. Yes, I always say ask for help first. But yeah, I would have saved so much money if I had just asked for the help sooner. And yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, every I don't call them mistakes. I call them lessons learned. So, that if you ever had to do this again, you know what you're going to do first. And then you get to teach that to your daughters. Like before you start your business, you're going to do some research first so you don't waste money. So, yeah, I don't call them failures per se, but I call them lessons learned, lessons learned.
Yeah, that's a good way to see it.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody taught me that. That's why I was able to throw it on to you. Don't look at it as a mistake. Look at them like as a lesson learned. Okay. Yeah. So what's your greatest fear and how do you manage it?
I think my biggest fear is not being able to deliver. Okay. And disappointing what people expect of me. But I manage that. On the other hand, I manage that by saying that it's not about me and it's not about what other people think. It's all about building God's agenda for my life and what he placed me on earth to do. Every single time I remind myself of that, then that fear goes away.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a similar career as yours? And also, what advice would you give someone that is just wants to start a business?
Okay, so my biggest advice would be do your research first. Find out if it's something that you really want to do, if it's something that you're passionate about. Because what happens is if it's something that you're not passionate about, you're going to get burned out very quickly and you're going to give up. Because you not only you need passion, you need to stay consistent. So first, passion, you need to stay consistent. Third, you need to connect. Don't be afraid to collaborate and connect with other people who may be doing the same thing. Like, for example, let's say you want to start a nonprofit for, I'm just going to throw that example, for women who are victims of sexual violence or domestic abuse, right? First thing I would recommend is hook up with an organization that's already doing it, mm-hmm. and learn from them, volunteer. Maybe, volunteer, get to know who runs the organization, the work that they do. And if you feel that's something that you can do yourself, you can take some pointers from them and then you can establish your own. Or you can continue, or you'll find out that, oh, okay, I don't need to establish my own, then I can just, work with them. That's one of the most important thing is connect with other people before you establish your business.
Yeah.
Do the research, find out who's doing it, connect with the organization or the business or whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you feel that, once you volunteer and you feel that, okay, that's something I definitely see myself starting, then yes, go for it. And then make sure you write the plan, write the vision, write everything down. Take your time. I can't stress that enough. Again, something about me, um, anyone who knows me, I tend to have these big grand ideas, right? And sometimes I always want to, okay, I have to do this. Guys, this is what I have.
And then, we're like the same person.
Okay, so you understand. Yeah. So sometimes my husband will be like, Liz, you got to slow down. It's like, he's like, here's a notebook, write it down. He's like, write it down, hon. I'm like, yeah, but it's so big. And then once I write it down, I kind of level set. I'm like, okay, that's something I can do next year. I won't, sometimes I have to really slow down. So I would recommend for people to just, write things down, do your research, and then you'll be good.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's absolutely right. And, I wanted to piggyback off of one of your thoughts about, I think you said something about, you said, trying to remember, I want to put it in the same words you said it, but you said something about, like taking your time and, like moving slow and not rushing into it.
Yes,
absolutely. I told you, I myself kind of like rushed into a lot of some of the things that I did. And I wish I would have taken my time when it came to certain things, like, and doing my research and things like that. So yes, that is definitely something that you guys want to do. So everybody listening out there in podcast world, take your time.
Yes, take your time. That's the key word. Take your time.
Exactly. Okay. So what are some of the best resources that helped you along the way?
Okay, so two things that worked for me, and I'm sure there's a lot more out there, but one of the first things that really helped me with my journey to entrepreneurship is networking. So what I started doing I want to say a little bit over 2 years ago, I started attending different business networking events. I got to know different people, phenomenal women, exchange numbers, just so that I could have, let's say if ever I'm doing something, then they will be right there and I can ask them for advice, suggestions, or if they even want to come on board. It's been really monumental for me. That's the first one. And the second one is, believe it or not, joining Facebook groups. So there's one Facebook group that I joined. I was able to find so many resources on there. It's not even funny. And I'm so grateful for it. It's called Blacks and Nonprofits.
Okay.
It's like, I think it's, if you just type it in, I think the abbreviation is BIN, B-I-N, but I think it's listed as Black and Nonprofits. And I've gotten so much resource from that particular group. Is everyone who wants to start a nonprofit, who's a Black business owner. I was able to get so much resources, assistance from that group. Because you had different people advertising their business and even people doing services pro bono. And I actually was able to find a really awesome company. I think their name is Clear Scope Nonprofit, which is an agency that was able to do all my filing documentation, review everything free of charge, with just an exchange for a donation or a shout out, which I was really grateful for. So I want to say Facebook. is really monumental. Facebook is good when used right, because Facebook can be a hot mess. Don't get me wrong, but
it can be, but sometimes it can be a good thing. And I'm actually going to say, yes, Facebook groups are the way to go because it's a lot of information in there.
Yeah, a lot of information. Yeah.
Any other resources?
Let's see. A good old Google. A good old Google search is good resource. And then also another resource I would say is if you're able to connect with a life coach, do so. That's so important because they will be able to kind of guide you in the right direction and also help you overcome some of those negative thoughts or hindrances sometimes that we tend to have or that stops us from moving forward or making a decision in our business. I think a life coach can be very monumental to your growth. So I would say that's another resource I would recommend.
Okay. All right, awesome. So the next question I'm going to ask you, what is something unique that no one knows about you or about your business or your products? And how does that make you different than other, people that have nonprofit organizations?
Okay, so something unique about me. I want to say that I don't know if it's unique, but I would say that I am a big people person. Okay. Whenever I meet someone, right? This is how my brain works. I'll let you in on a little secret. No one knows about this. I'm just kidding. But the way my brain works is that whenever I meet people, right, the way I am is how can I add value to them? How can I be a helper? Like I am intentional in all my relationships and all my dealings with people. Right now, I'm talking to you, whether it's virtual or in person. My mission, my focus is always, okay, how can I make this a positive experience between the two of us where once we leave, you can take something or learn something from me. My goal is always for people to have a positive experience around me. It has a lot to do with, one, my upbringing, because I have my parents are Haitian, right? We're big on community people. Even though I wasn't born in Haiti, I was born in Canada, but my culture shaped who I am. So we're big on people. And then also, I'm also a minister. So whenever I deal with people, I just want to make sure that they feel the love of Christ in me. Mm-hmm. And they have a positive experience. So that's a unique thing about me. I'm intentional with all my relationships, whether it's professional or personal. The same respect that I give to, I don't care who it is. If I'm going to McDonald's, I'm getting a sandwich. That's the same experience that I'm giving that person. I want to be able to give that same respect to, even if I was talking to the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Yeah. So that's I think this is a unique thing about me. Yeah. I think that.
I'm about to quote my favorite song. It's the God in you. Like, it's the God in me. I love that one. Yes, okay, guys, I can't sing, but I tried. Okay. All right. So here's a biggie. What advice would you tell your younger self?
That's a good question. An advice I would tell my younger self, take more risk and don't play it safe.
Okay.
Those are the two things. Don't play it safe. Life is too short.
Yes.
Life is too short. You don't know when you'll take your last breath. Yeah. Whatever you want to do it now. I know there's so many things that I know I wanted to do when I was younger. I didn't do it because, again, it goes back to what I said earlier, is I was so afraid of, well, what will people think? Well, why does it matter, right? I was listening to Pastor Stephen Furtick last Sunday. He said, in life, if you ask the right questions, is really going to put things into perspective in your life. Sometimes we ask so many questions, but we're not asking the right question. And it always circles back around to, why does it matter? So somebody says something to you that you don't like. Why does it matter? Somebody has an opinion of you. Like, you heard, Kelly, you heard what they said about your show? Why does it matter? As long as I am walking in my purpose, right? I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing what God called me to do. Why does it matter? So this is the advice I would give to my younger self. Okay. And I'm still giving myself that advice now.
I was just about to say, I would tell my younger self that a lot of times, and I would tell my older self that too. It's like, why do you care?
Yes. Yeah. Why do you care? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if money wasn't an option, what would you do every day?
Oh, my goodness. First thing I would do is definitely travel the world. Do philanthropic work with people. I don't know, build up young girls. I always thought I would be like another Oprah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely establish schools all over the world, especially for young Black girls. Build them up so they can be entrepreneurs and, make a social impact in the world themselves. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I will be doing.
Okay. So what's your vision for the next 5 years for Crown International?
For me, it's global expansion. Okay. I always say that is, I want to be able to extend it beyond New Jersey. I would love for it to be. This is why it's called Crown International, because it has to be international. Whether it's the goal is next 5 years. Is it going to happen in the next 5 years? I don't know. Only God knows. But this is the vision: global expansion.
Okay, and we're gonna claim it today.
Yes.
Claim it. Yes, hallelujah. We're gonna claim it, and that's where you're gonna be in the next 5 years. We're going to be sitting here at this podcast again in the studio this time.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. So where can our listeners connect with you online?
All right. So we have 3 platforms. Well, social media. You can connect with me on Instagram, Crowned International. Can type that in. Instagram, Facebook, same thing. We have a Facebook page. Also, you can type in Crown International, and or you can directly go on our website, crowninternational.org, or you can send me an email at crowninternational@gmail.com. So those are the how many DeLouis? 4 ways. 4 ways you can connect with me. Yes. So.
And I will be putting this in the show notes. So everybody, you don't have to write it down. It'll be in the show notes. So you'll be able to click on it. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So do you have any questions for me? We're about to wrap up.
No, I really had a good time doing this interview. I had so much fun. Thank you so much. I guess my only question to you would be, how did you come about starting this? This is a really great platform.
Yes. So it was actually, I saw a meme on Instagram, and it said, instead of having baby showers and wedding showers, why don't we have business showers? And at the time I was just like, that's a good idea. Like, I don't have any kids. Right now I don't have any kids. So I was just like, yeah, nobody's celebrating businesses. And I was about to launch one of my businesses, which is a real estate investment company. And I was just like, that's a good idea. And in conversation with my friend, she encouraged me to do it. And I'm here today. So it started off as a business shower. The podcast was always in the works. I was like, I'm going to do that, but not right now. But then once COVID hit, I was just like, no, I'm doing a podcast right now. So COVID kind of forced my hand to do it now. And that's where we are today. So
that's awesome.
I wanted to create a platform to support all business owners. And, you know, because we know that it's hard to just start out. So I wanted to create something to give everybody a platform to this is where you can start. And from there, this is where you're going to go. So that's where
awesome.
Yes.
Well, God bless you for what you're doing. This is amazing.
Thank you. So everybody, that is a wrap of this episode, and I will see you next time. Bye.